Okay, we're back down at the end of the driveway again by the fence post, which marks the spot of our valve and screen that we are going to clean while trying to stay dry. That is the challenge. So we're going to close the valve. And the next thing we have to do is drain the system of water. So this is just going to get really wet because I'm going to open this up, and not that one because it'll just be on me. This is just going to take a while. It's draining the head of the head pressure of our property, right? Now, I started turning this a little, and it actually, the top of it is turning with it, which is good. This is well seated, but this should never be tightened more than just hand tight. It seals because of an O-ring, not because of hand pressure jamming it. And so just hand tight, and we illustrate how tight that is because I just loosened it by turning this, right? But this thing hasn't been leaking at all. This just runs and runs and runs. When it's done running, or it gets low enough, you just start twisting this, and this will still be spraying probably because, this just takes forever. You'll be impatient like me, I'm sure. Anyway, you'll take this off, there'll be a screen in there, and the challenge is getting that fine-grained screen clean. You have to use a toothbrush on the inside of it, and it looks clean when it's not. Traps really fine stuff in its mesh. So we're just gonna let this drain for a while. I'll take a walk. You can take a bathroom break, and we'll be back. Okay, so time compression does work. Here it is. Some unspecified time. It's probably only like 2 or 3 minutes. And it drained down. Now I'm going to continue. Okay, that time that actually came loose, but I'm going to directly, just with my hand, and I think this should be something you can probably do with both hands. Pull this off. There's a screen. Now that looks like a big ass, why would that clog? Well, you separate this, and you kind of work this out a little. And the thing is the very inside of it, oh wow, that's the most sand kind of stuff I've ever seen in it. But the very inside of it is extremely fine grain screen. So fine that they use this coarser grain screen to kind of support it against the pressure. So fine 2 screens, a fine one inside a coarse one, and the challenge is getting all that grit out of the inside of this. We're going to retire to the kitchen and find one of your toothbrushes. So I'm going to assume you can see this at least well enough to see that I'm trying to clean the inside of it. And what I do is I kind of run water over a section and kind of scrub the back side of that as I rotate the thing around and hold it at an angle so whatever flushes clean, flushes out. And then you get to a point, and I'm not sure you'll be able to see this, but you can kind of look through it with light at the back side. And I don't know, can you see that it becomes semi-transparent again. When you first take a clogged filter out, it's not this transparent. Now there are wrinkles in the inner thing that make it look like there's maybe veins of not loosened grime, but you know, I think if you just give it a couple minutes of scrub, those can be ignored. All right, let's go reinstall. Okay, here we are again. We're going to reinstall our cleanish filter. Okay. Miniatures forest. Okay, so you'll notice this thing has two different sides. The green side goes in first. That goes in there. Or maybe better even is to just insert this in the cap and give it, you can kind of feel it has sort of a gasket in the cap part to grip that thing, to grip it. And so you can kind of push it in and it'll stay. And then you can see the O-ring. The O-ring is right here. I'm getting it wet. I'm going to just run my finger around the outside of that to make sure there's no dirt on it. And then I can screw the other thing on without adding to my towel. Okay. Yeah, I guess I didn't even catch that. Anyway, I just ran my finger around it. And I don't see a problem there. See that little O-ring is in a little groove, and that's what seals. But and why you don't need to wrench on this thing like crazy, and it should seal. Okay, so we're putting this in carefully, and then you have to push a little to get it kind of over the O-ring while you're screwing, and then pretty quickly the O-ring becomes tightish. And I always just make sure I can move it forward and back, and that's tight enough. Should be. I guess we'll find out. Turning the water back on, rinsing my fingers, turning off this, and let's repressurize the system. Sorry, I'm being a horrible cameraman because I'm also the actor. Right up to target pressure. Now let's go test a couple of zones, and what I predict is they should appear to be significantly more powerful. So I just turned on zone 1 to see how the pressure might have improved. What we can see is that the flow rate here, I think, is a little better than it was before. It was kind of lower, 40, but it's still less than 50 something if the valves aren't on. Zone 1's got, you know, quite a few heads. You know, could be that that's the issue. Or maybe there, you know, it just might not be an issue that there's enough drainage, but I don't know. I guess the other thing I am going to check is it could still be that filter. If that filter is badly clogged, that intake gauge is pre-filter, so that filter there could be so clogged that it's throttling pressure even after cleaning this one. Throttling pressure when there's a drain on it. It can't keep up the flow rate to have this also be 55 basically. So I'm going to try a couple more zones, and then I think probably looking at cleaning that filter, maybe at least maybe flushing it. Start with flushing it. It's got a stupid PVC valve on the output. That's really hard to turn. Okay, this to be continued.